Oh my god. Okay. Da 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 da. Oh my god. Should be able to see and hear me perfectly now. There we go. Alright. Da 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 da. Okay. Nah, Fish Army is first today. Fish Army is first. Sammy second. Philip, there we go. Awesome. I'm a little earlier today. A little bit, you know. Zay says first. Nah, you're like fifth. What's going on, Philip? Keep dreaming about being first is crazy. Jace the naked scientist. I was a few seconds ago, honestly, and that's part of why I'm shirtless. It's just like I don't even want to wear anything really. If I could pull it off, I'd just not wear anything at all, and then just make sure the camera stays at a certain level so I don't get kicked off of TikTok. At least not for that reason, you know. But yeah, fuck it. What's going on, guys? How we doing? Had a really good day today. I'm trying to finish it off with this and talking to one of my favorite students after this. I had a lot of stuff to do in the morning, but towards the afternoon I had jujitsu. Needed that. But yeah, we're doing this. We're doing this now. What's going on, baby? They fighting in the comments. That's crazy. You only won a couple times. Get on my level, bro. I'm A trained fast, motherfucker. Sup, bro? I just started boxing classes. Is there a correlation in this and my confidence with approach? Yes. A big part of why women find men attractive is the ability to protect. And nothing gives you more confidence to protect women or to be a protector than actually having the skills to protect, right? That's where your boxing, your jiu-jitsu, your wrestling, your judo, all that stuff comes in. It all just helps with your confidence in knowing that you can keep a woman safe. And she can feel that confidence off you, you know? It feels a lot easier for you. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. That's exactly how it should be, by the way. These guys say I look 30 and gave me unk status. That's crazy. Y'all here getting unk status already? I've already accepted the unk status myself, you know. I can't beat the unk allegations. It is what it is. Sometimes you just gotta accept it, you know. What's on the agenda for today? Whatever it is you want. I can only be here for about an hour and a half, I believe. So we're gonna chop it up, talk about everything you guys want to talk about: game, social dynamics, evolutionary psychology, conversational hypnosis, neurolinguistic programming, mind of the self, God, spirituality. You know, you guys know how random we be with these topics. Let's go. How can I become a student? You're already trying it. You're already doing it. You're here. Congratulations. The real barrier to entry to becoming my student is actually using the information I give you. You know, that's the real barrier to entry. Because there's a lot of people that get all this information for free or pay for it that don't use it. That don't bother trying to see results with it in their lives. You truly become a student when you begin to practice. That's the barrier to entry, okay? Shave the beard and you're back to 18, real talk. I'm probably back to 16. But nah, we're not doing that. Accepting unk status at 21. Hey, sometimes you just gotta lead the youth. It is what it is. Yo, how are you? I'm doing good, man. How are you, Esat? Talk about conversational hypnosis, give an example. One of the best people to learn all things conversational hypnosis and mentalism from is a guy named Darren Brown. I just put y'all on to someone that a lot of people won't know about, but he's one of the most important people, in my opinion, in the last century. Because he found a way to commercialize mentalism, which is very interesting. He's essentially like a mentalist. He's an act. He's a magician, so to speak, and his magic has to do with his ability to manipulate the subconscious mind. He can get people to do crazy things. He can influence people and persuade them of factual untruths and make them believe in it wholeheartedly. He comes up with amazing visual and psychological illusions. And he knows how to use his speech pattern, and cadence to drop subtle suggestions into people's subconscious mind when he's actually talking to them in real life. It's beautiful. I mean, the guy can make you get drunk, or at the very least, demonstrate, the symptoms of drunkenness without actually giving you any alcohol, just by talking to you and using hand signs and symbols. And it's very crazy stuff. If you want a good idea of what conversational hypnosis looks like, go look at him. But the entire point of conversational hypnosis, by the way, is any conversation that you have with someone, any two-way conversation, obviously, that allows for one person to lead the dance of the conversation in such a way that they create hyper-focus in the subject. That is what, at its basic level, what it's for. That's what conversational hypnosis is for. By the way, bro, Locario made a video type shit. I expect him to. Shout out to Mr. Locario. How is it different from NLP? NLP is one of the tools used in conversational hypnosis. Let's just put it like that. Is he on YouTube? Yes, you should be able to find a lot of Darren Brown stuff on YouTube. What are your thoughts on fractionation of seduction? Someone asked me that question a while ago, and I still don't know what it is because I never did bother to do research on it, but hold on. Fractionation of seduction. Let's see what that is. Let's see. A type of hypnosis technique that pushes a person to feel a whirlwind of emotions in a short amount of time. That's very interesting and odd because that's what I teach, but I don't call it fractionation seduction. Who the fuck named it that? And why is the name so long? That's just what we call putting a girl on an emotional roller coaster, or as I like to call it, imprinting 101. Making her feel a whirlwind of emotions, positive and negative, in different extremes and different variety in a short period of time. The key, though, and I'm happy they put that in the definition there, is the time constraint that you have. Making her feel positive, waiting a year, and then making her feel negative doesn't have as much effect as making her feel both positive, negative, confused, happy, excited, joyful, and sad, all within a 24-hour span. That's what creates massive emotional investment in the girl. It's basically a push-pull, I think, from the Shogun method. It sounds like it. It's just push-pulling, but probably to the extreme. But yeah, that's what we all teach. I guess that's what he calls it, fractionation seduction. Such a long, unnecessary name. Just call it an emotional roller coaster. Call it imprinting or something. But yeah, it's cool. It's valid. What is up with presidential campaigns using celebrities? It's social proof. That's all it really is. It's kind of like how Amazon has reviews under each product. It's a way for people that want to buy a product to know if they are willing to make a decision to buy the product because of the opinions of others. Celebrities are essentially the opinion of others, but on steroids. Your favorite celebrity, to you, whether you realize it or not, whether you want to accept it or not, is an opinion that you really fucking care about. If your favorite celebrity were to tell you, do this, don't do this, even if you were going to do the exact opposite of those things, you would at least consider it because it's someone that you care about and you have invested in, and someone whose opinion you actually think matters, right? That's why, celebrities are used for campaigns and stuff like that. It's social proof on steroids, Your take on guys that say you shouldn't take a woman back once she's been with other people while you were broken up. It's like saying, you should. It's like saying, what would be a good example? I want to use a very similar analogy to really explain it, because it's like the point I'm trying to make with it is like it makes sense. That what did you expect her to do? Not try to fill the void that you left? I think it's just it's a fundamental misunderstanding of how women work, what they are, and misplaced expectations around women. Like, if a woman were to, I dump a woman, she's out of there. She's gonna be so disappointed, so heartbroken. Her expectations are shattered, right? The pillars that hold up her belief system are gone. she's gonna do whatever it takes. And again, this is because this is women especially, right? They're so validation driven. She's gonna do whatever it takes to try to fill that void. I completely expect that. That makes perfect sense. I completely expect that. That again, understand if she tries to date other people, sleep with other people, blah blah, she's not doing it because she likes those people. And a lot of these, especially these red pill guys, they've tricked everyone into believing that every single time a woman sleeps with a guy, it's because she really likes the guy and she wants him. That's not always the case. In this case, with this context especially, again, contextualize it, in this context, where she leaves you and she goes with someone else, especially if the relationship ended in an explosive way where she didn't leave you because she wanted to, but because you were either forced the relationship to end or she felt like she couldn't handle the tension that you provided, right? She's gonna find a way to make herself feel better about herself. And for women, the fastest way is just fuck somebody else. Again, doesn't mean she likes the person, doesn't mean that person is consequential in any way. It's just the creature they are. Sometimes they lack the discipline to not look for the next dopamine hit. And that's what dick is to them. It's just another hit of dopamine. Now, again, to give proper context, if you leave a relationship with her, especially if she's the one that dumped you, and then she fucks someone else, and then time passes and she comes back, she wants to be with you again, that in that particular case where she left you with confidence, more than likely it's because she tried to make it work with the next guy who she thought was better for her than you are, and it didn't work out. Now she's coming back to you for safety, right? She's coming back to you because you're the predictable option. In that case, sure, you can take a little more offense to that, whatever. Which, by the way, you can't even blame the girl for that either, because guess whose fault it is that she sees you as her emotional blanket? Yours. It's your fault how women see you. But yeah, for the most part, I don't. If I leave a girl, any of my girls right now, if I were to leave them, I completely expect them to try to fuck somebody else, right? Okay, maybe not all of them. They all have a lot of discipline now, especially now that I've been with them. But I still wouldn't be surprised, regardless. Like, duh. Like the most important thing in their life has left them. They're gonna spiral out of control. I completely expect that. That makes perfect sense. And if you don't think of yourself as that important to a woman, and you've never been that important to a woman before, then that's probably gonna sound weird to you. I understand that, but trust me, as someone who knows what it's like to have women in his life that are willing to make just about any sacrifice. I'm gonna say just about any sacrifice to sound humble, but I know it's really any sacrifice. That are willing to make just about any sacrifice to keep me happy. Yeah, it makes perfect sense that they would fucking crash out and spiral out of control when I leave. It makes sense. Let's see. He said the most important ingredient to get sex is to sexualize the conversation. No shit. Is that what Lucario said? No. What do you think I talk about when I'm talking about sexual tension? Duh. That's what sexual tension is all about, baby. ASAP Rocky can do that. Can do what exactly? I don't know. Sexualizing the conversation like in a very natural way. Would you agree? Yes, absolutely. We say it in different ways, but we're talking about the same thing. He's talking about sexualizing the conversation. I call it, seduction or inducing sexual tension into the conversation, but it's the same thing. You gotta drop your balls on the table at some point. She has to know that you have a dick. It has to happen, trying to pull your dick out without letting her know you have one first to warn her. I'm speaking in analogy terms, right? I'm not saying it like literally, like you have to warn her. I'm in analogy terms. You have to give her a sign that sex is a possibility with you before you actually whip your dick out, literally. Okay? All right. That's the entire point of sexual tension. Got invited to my girlfriend's family cookout. What should I expect? I'm Spanish, by the way. Is she Spanish too? Because who you are doesn't matter. It's what her family is that matters the most, right? So if they are Spanish, I'm guessing that's what you mean when you say I'm Spanish, because you assume that my assumption would be that you only date Spanish women, which, by the way, if that's the case, you're limiting yourself. There's a lot more women in the world, but I digress. Point is, her TOs are gonna get in on you. Her brothers are gonna try to bully you or big bro you. The little bros too, honestly, are probably gonna be more of a problem. Little bros are a lot more feisty than big bros, But for the most part, you just gotta make sure that her TIs and her mom love you. As long as the females in the family love you, you're fine. Go in there, be charming, be charismatic, be funny, and work the crowd, man. Be social. Give them the same personality you give her. and allow her to have that tension of not knowing if things will go over well or not. That's good for your relationship if she doesn't know if things will go well, you know? Birthday body live, what's good? Hey, you know what I'm saying? Birthday shoot type shit. I know that. You believe in free will? Of course I do. Free will is a real thing. Free will is, I think people don't understand how free will works, which is why people are confused about what free will is and how it works. But free will is a real thing. It's just most people have a very bad conception of what it is, you know? Is The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene a good game book? It's a good book for learning archetypes and the groups of different categories of seducers. It's good for that. I wouldn't say it's a good practical guide. A great practical guide, you know, and anyone that's read both books knows that I'm telling the truth, is The Mystery Method by Eric von Markovik. That's a way better book. In terms of like a practical step-by-step what you should do, The Mystery Method by Mystery, aka Eric von Markovik. Or I should say Eric von Markovik, aka Mystery. But yeah, it's still a good book though. Have you heard of Fit Fearless? Yes, I have. I'm Nigerian. He sounds extreme in his advice. He's an extreme dude. Most Nigerian men are, to be honest. I do like the guy because, again, I gotta give credit to my fellow first generation immigrants. We come here with a different kind of work ethic because we do got something to prove, all right? It's also why I don't drop the hammer too hard on Fresh and Fit, right? A lot of the things they talk about are goofy, but fellow first generation immigrants, gotta give them the respect. I do admire them for their work ethic. I do think Fit and Fearless should just stick to fitness advice. I think he'll kill it there. Motherfuckers want to know, you know, what he does in terms of like the gym. That's cool. But any other advice from him, probably take it with a grain of salt, like several bags of salt, actually. He's going to give you his brand of advice, and it's not going to work for everybody. Can you describe some of the dark fantasies women have, aspects simps are in denial of, ignorant of? I don't know if I can even talk about those things on TikTok. That's the problem, you know. Let's just say a lot of the ideas a lot of men have around how women work or what they want, specifically what they respond to, is very wrong, you know. Women have done a good job of misconstruing what attractiveness really is. A lot of men have just a false idea of what it means to be attractive to women. And a lot of the time they believe those ideas because it's easier for them to digest. Not because they're dumb, but because they're lazy. They don't want to have to do the work it takes to actually be attractive to women. And that work is not easy. It's riddled with pain, and it comes with a lot of resistance, right? A lot of men aren't willing to go through the adversity it takes to become the kind of men that women actually respond to. Because there's what they say they want and there's what they respond to. And even women themselves aren't always honest enough to admit that those two things are not the same thing all the time, or honestly are rarely the same thing. But let's just say a lot of the things that you've been told women don't like or don't respond to, I promise you 99% of them, they work really well. Really, really well. Just something to keep in mind. Let's see. Put a shirt on Unk. No. Happened to me for the first time. Imploded with a girl, and she got a provider boyfriend 2 weeks later. Type shit. With a little cigarette. That's funny. But yeah, that sounds about right. That's what they have to do. You've made them feel bad. You've devalidated them. They're gonna have to run to someone that makes them feel good again. Although, I mean, not that person's validation is gonna feel anywhere near as good as yours, right? But that's what they have to do. That's what it takes. Feel sorry for them. Fit Fearless. New content is hilarious. Reminds me of Kevin Samuels. Someone has to fill that gap, you know? Someone has to play the role of being the guy that's mean to his audience to get them better. But yeah, shout out to him if that's what he's doing. Best first date in your opinion? Best first date as in what though? Like, what are we talking about? The location of the date, how it should go, the checkpoints you should hit. Because the best first date is the one where you hold frame from beginning to end. If I had to summarize it, which I don't like to do because there's a lot more moving parts than just that, but if I had to pick out one thing that I would say is the most important thing to look out for in a first date, make sure you hold frame from beginning to end. Make sure, because once the frame is yours to hold and she buys into it, everything you want to happen will happen because you're the one leading the charge, right? You want to go here, you'll go there. You want to talk about this, you'll talk about that. You want to have sex with her, the sex is an afterthought after that point. I keep telling people, I know I'll fuck a girl, if at all I'm even thinking in those terms. I know I'll fuck a girl before I even get on the first date by just the way we're talking. How bought in she is to my frame, that's all I need to see. I don't doubt anything else after that point if, you're thinking in those terms. So, yeah, just make sure you hold the frame from beginning to end. You'll be fine. I watched explain how tumors and genetics affect one's decision making, which combats free will. True, there are external factors. Like, okay, if you want to talk about like decision making, because that is the crux of free will, right? Is your ability to make your own decision. And what people could get concerned about when it comes to free will is how much of your decision is actually yours, how much of it is actually influenced by outside forces. I'll tell you right now, the biggest outside, if you want even, I mean, you can't really call it an outside force per se, because it's all part of you, but the biggest influence of your decision making on a daily basis is your gut. A lot of people don't pay attention to their gut. A lot of people don't pay attention to their stomach and what they put in there and what's in there and the inactive times of your digestion, how the food you eat makes you feel. And because of the way the food makes you feel, what kind of decisions your body's going to drive you to do to get you back to homeostasis. You know what I mean? So a lot of your decision making is affected by a lot of the stuff around you, your environment, the stuff you consume, etc., etc., etc. Why I still believe in ultimate free will, regardless of all that stuff, is because of the fact that you still have control over all those things. If you can catch them and you can become cognizant of them and consciously aware of them, you can then change all those factors to benefit you. I keep telling people, the first step to changing your life is your environment, and you have complete control over that shit. You have complete control over the way your environment feels, looks, smells, tastes, even where it is. A lot of the time, people begin to do better in their lives when they move. There's a reason for that. There's a very specific reason for that. It's not even necessarily because the one place was better than the other per se, or because this new place they're going to has better infrastructure, more opportunity. It's not even anything like that. It's just the fact that you're no longer in the old environment that would trigger all those bad decisions you would make because you were in that environment, right? So it's just something to keep in mind. Let's see. Hey, Jace, I think we should take things slow. No. Bro, the amount of devalidation I made her go through, I almost feel sorry. I know better now. That's good. What's up, Jay? Hey, how you doing, Hector? Where you been? It's been a while. I've been fasting. I've been fasting plan. Oh, okay. You just forgot the comment there. I've been fasting. Plan to do it for 2 weeks. It's tough as fuck. Any advice, mantras, etc. to stay strong? Trust me, the toughest days are the first 3 or 4 days. After that, you forget to eat. The hunger just goes away. Your body goes into ketosis and autophagy begins. So your body begins to feed off of what's in you as opposed to what's coming from the outside, right? The most important thing you have to remember, though, is the re-entry back into, eating and feeding. Make sure that you're not reintroducing food to your body in a harsh way, because that can be fatal. Be very careful with that. Eat small amounts, small portions of only proteins and fats. Do not eat carbs when you're trying to get off the fasting. Do not eat, honestly, don't eat veggies either. Stick to proteins and fats. Healthy fats, of course. So that's like your avocados and so maybe some margarine here and there. I personally like to break my fast with salmon. Literally 1 fillet of salmon, maybe even half if I went on a really long fast. And then some people like to use bone broth, I've heard. Bone broth is also good, just to reintroduce your body to the concept of having something come from the outside. But trust me, after that first 3 or 4 days, you don't feel hunger anymore. It doesn't feel hard anymore. You just kind of keep going. Are you vegan by chance? Absolutely not. You think you get muscles like this on fucking plant-based diet? Stop it. I am an omnivore, but I do live a fasted life. My girl got upset that I danced platonically with some of her cousins. How should I approach it? You look at her like she's silly and you flick her forehead and you go, shut up. Let's go get some ice cream. Never make shit like that a big deal. The moment you start treating it like a big deal, it becomes a big deal. I danced with your cousin. What are you mad about? Shut up. Let's go get ice cream. Stupid. In fact, you're paying for saying that dumb shit. Your cousin. Stop it. And you'll literally see them look within themselves and be like, oh, that was stupid. My bad. Literally. It's just y'all forget it's women we're dealing with, and they will go with whatever energy you give them. If you begin to be like, oh no, your cousin, I gotta explain this and explain that, you're fucked. You're fucked. Just treat it like it's not a big deal, because it's not. It's her cousin. Like, what the fuck is she worried about? Shut up. Let's go get ice cream. Or chalupas or Cheerios, whatever the fuck y'all like to get. I'm a lactose intolerant guy that likes ice cream, because who's gonna stop me, right? Give me an example of a food and the decision it drives you to make. Any food makes you to make bad decisions if eaten in excess. And think about it like this. What makes the food bad or makes it affect your decision making is how hard it is for you to digest. All right. So the harder your gut has, or the more effort your gut has to use to digest the food, the more energy it requires. The energy is being drawn away from your brain. So all the energy goes into your, like, you ever had brain fog? Maybe you eat something, you're filled to the brim, and you try to do some work, and you just can't find the inspiration or the train of thought or anything like that. That's because all the energy that would have gone into your brain is going in here right now, and you literally cannot come up with a fucking good idea to save your life. All right, so it's really just whatever foods will make it harder to get your brain to become the primary source or the primary consumer of your energy. I don't want to give you like weird arbitrary rules like stay away from sugar. Like, sugar is healthy. Don't get it twisted. There's no food that's ultimately poison. It's only ever when you misuse them or overconsume them. Usually, that's when it becomes a bad thing. But for the most part, just try to stay balanced. If you are already a balanced person, that's another caveat I got to put in there. If you're a fat as fuck, you should probably stay away from sugar for sure, because all the sugar is gonna do is make it harder for you to burn fat. So stay away from sugar, stay away from your carbs. Probably stick to nothing but protein and vitamins and maybe some veggies and stuff. But for the most part, yeah, just stay away from that. If you're skinny and you want to add muscle, double up on your carbs and your protein. You should be fine. Cool. Let's see. Reminds me on you how you said some men are just bred to be providers. Type shit. A lot of the time, they are bred to be providers by the system we live in. Like people keep forgetting. A lot of the things around us is built on purpose to lull us, to keep us in a state of haze, to sedate us. You know what I mean? The food we eat, the water we drink, all the entertainment available to us, the apps that we use, it's all there to just keep your brain filled with dopamines and not allow you to focus on the things that actually matter. And that's why you can always tell the difference between someone that's using their brain and someone that's not by, the lifestyle they live, how they live their lifestyle, how disciplined they are, what things they're allowing into their eyes, their nose, their ears, their mouth. Those things will tell you very quickly who has decentered themselves from just this existence we have. That's why I talk about fasting so much. It's not just taking away the foods and giving your body a chance to get rid of all the excess processed foods we eat. It's also just, detoxing yourself from the need for a dopamine hit every time you get on YouTube or TikTok or Twitter or Facebook, wherever the fuck you like to get your dopamine hit from, right? It's removing that need you have to constantly entertain yourself. And that's the hard part, honestly. The hunger is one thing, but the need to pick up your phone and scroll and doom scroll fucking Instagram, that's a tougher addiction to deal with for most people. And it's because they have that addiction and then try to get rid of that addiction, they replace it with something else. That's where alcohol comes in. That's where the drugs, sugar comes in, right? So you gotta be someone that's willing to detach yourself from all those things and use your fucking brain. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be difficult, but in an average of 30 days, it can be done. I read Outwitting the Devil again. Would you agree with the things he talks about sex in there? Oh, hell yeah. I honestly, to be honest, I used to be a big skeptic when it came to transmutation of sex, but that's because of my own ignorance, and that's something I have to admit now. All these years later, I realized I just didn't understand what the transmutation of sex really was. But the concept of it makes perfect sense. Rechanneling your sexual energy into something else makes perfect sense. I do wish Napoleon Hill kind of emphasized more on, because he did say it in the book. It's not like he didn't say it at all. He did say sex is a good thing. People villainize sex for no reason. Sex is a wonderful thing, and it's one of the most important things that we can ever like put our minds to study upon. But I wish he emphasized more on the fact that like the idea is to have control over your sexual urges, not just to transmute it all the time into something else. Like the way he talks about it, the layman, the person that doesn't use their brain is gonna think of that as like just don't have sex and use all that energy for something else. It's like, no, understand and appreciate sex enough for what it is, and then use the energy and the motivation you get from it to do amazing things. That's the point. That's, something that I think a lot of people need to understand. You feel me? Had a great day, been diving deeper into gaming. I came across Neil Strauss and it got me thinking. Neil Strauss, take everything he says with a grain of salt. What's your take on dealing with girls on birth control? It depends on the kind of birth control they have or they're using. I keep telling you, again, we were talking about transmutation energy, right? The idea of, not transmutation, sorry. How your gut or an unhealthy gut can lead you to make bad decisions because you're seeping energy into the wrong place. Birth control is the same way because birth control affects their hormonal balance. Hormones are a very delicate system, right? Your hormonal system is like a beautiful symphony of chemicals firing at a different amounts, at different frequencies, and any kind of disruption in that kind of fucks up the individual. What birth control, hormonal birth control to be specific, does is mess that entire beautiful symphony and cycle up. And then you have women that are living in cycles that they shouldn't be living in or existing in. Like, you gotta understand, a lot of these hormonal birth controls, what they do is they make the woman, they secrete a particular hormone that makes the woman believe that she's pregnant, and that allows for the uterus to act as if it's pregnant, because the hormone that it introduces into her system makes her believe like she's with child, and now the uterus closes up so she can't get pregnant anymore, which is how she can't get pregnant, right? But it also essentially makes her think she's pregnant on a subconscious level. And when your body believes it's pregnant, its decision making becomes very different than when it still thinks it's fertile and it's looking for a suitable mate, right? A woman on her ovulation, and there's a lot of science backing this up. I'm not just talking on my ass. Go and do your own research for yourself. But there's a lot of science that backs up how women's decision making around who they choose for sex changes depending on what part of the cycle they are in a 28-day cycle. Right. So ovulation is where they are looking for the most protector of the protector types, the strongest masculine men that can keep them safe, blah, blah. That's who they want to procreate with. And when they are willing to procreate the most. You take that a little bit away, or in the case where she believes she's pregnant, where her body is in the process of accommodating a zygote to grow into a fetus, all of a sudden her selection in men is different, because now the circumstances are different. She's no longer looking for someone to reproduce with. She's looking for someone to stick around to help her keep herself safe in this vulnerable time called pregnancy. So the man she's willing to choose at that point is going to be a completely different man. It's going to be the opposite. It's going to be the nurturing kind of man, the more feminine kind of man, the man that isn't likely to leave her alone in her most vulnerable state. And that's why you see a lot of these girls. I keep telling people this, right? 99% of the hot girls you see with like men that aren't so-called traditionally masculine, because that's the name they put on guys like me that actually live in accordance to nature. Traditionally masculine, toxic masculinity, right? Anytime you see a hot girl with a guy that is the exact opposite of a guy like me, 9 times out of 10, hormonal birth control. And there's a lot of fucking nightmarish stories of those girls getting off birth control because they're convinced, I love this guy, he's my soulmate. Yeah, he's squishy everywhere and he's mad feminine and he's a little bitch, but I love this guy, he's my soulmate, I love him for his personality, whatever fucking excuse they come up with. And then they get off birth control because they finally want to procreate with this guy. And they find out very quickly, once their hormones have been reset and rebalanced, yeah, I don't find this guy attractive at all. There's like actual stories about this. Don't hate me. Go and do your own research on your own. Literally go and read these stories. They're fucking hilarious. I love them a lot. They're fucking... Because that's the punishment you get for trying to live in dissonance with the actual laws of nature. That's what the fuck you get. Hey. Damn, that's why it's important to be a protector with the willingness from the beginning. With the willingness to provide from the beginning type shit. Exactly, because you don't want to be completely one way or the other, right? What makes a long-term relationship is the ability to be a protector when it's necessary and be a provider when it's necessary. But at the same time, you don't want to, lean more to provider than protector. You want to be protector most times and then be provider sometimes. That's the guy that's ideal. That's the meat of all the kind of guys, If yes, how do you use sexual energy to empower and motivate you, like he said? Think about it like this. You got to understand what the concept of transmutation is to begin with. Energy is neither created nor destroyed, just transferred from one place to another, right? It's manifested in one place to another. If you can think about your need and your urge for sex as energy, then you can, instead of looking for a way to essentially release that tension, because that's what that energy is, it's tension in your body that you're trying to release. Instead of looking for an outlet for that tension to be released from you, how about use that tension to do something else that's more productive, and then focus that tension elsewhere. It's actually very useful, and it'll motivate you like a motherfucker. A practical example would be, this is something I literally do for myself. I will tell myself, I'm not going to have sex until I'm done doing this task. And if that day, for whatever reason, I can't get those tasks done, I will literally tell my girl, no, we're not doing shit. No. And, no girls, they'll complain, they'll bitch, no, can't do it. You got to give yourself the discipline to use sex as a reward for yourself in a way that's productive for you. Does that make sense? And honestly, don't do that with just sex. Do that with everything. I fast every day, intermittently, right? I think of me eating at the end of the day as the reward for all the hard work I've done throughout the day. So when I do something and I look at my day and I'm like, okay, I did this, did that. Okay, cool, now I can eat. And yet, are there days where I didn't do everything or I didn't do everything perfectly? I've had off days like that, absolutely. Would I eat those days? Fuck no. I'm going to bed hungry. It is what it is. I should have done better. Should have fucking done better. Discipline is the ability to give yourself an instruction and follow through with it, right? So it really comes down to your discipline. All right, keep that in mind. And most of all, they didn't get their self-belief right, which effed them up. Who are we talking about? Neil Strauss and them, maybe. Have you heard of the experiment in the 1980s where they used an egg, is it an egg or an egg? The conclusion was, before we decide to move our bodies, it was already decided by us in our subconscious, and we think made that decision after it's already been made. Are you talking about the process of decision making? Absolutely. Like, they're not wrong. It's the subconscious thing. Like, I was telling you guys about how the different realms trickle down from one to the other: spiritual, emotional, mental, then physical, right? What do you think I was talking about when I was talking about that? It all starts from your spirit. Your spirit wants a particular thing, but your spirit doesn't want to move your body. Your spirit wants to achieve a certain goal. It just, in order to achieve that certain goal, it has to go through physical means. So that whatever that goal is that your spirit wants to achieve, it gets trickled down and kind of almost dumbed down for your body to receive as a specific instruction, right? So your spirit wants enlightenment or fulfillment or gratitude in some way. There's a physical action that's attached to that. So by the time it goes through your emotions, your mental, and your body, and gets to your body's going to translate whatever that ultimate goal is into a very specific physical instruction. And that can be move your body towards this, go and do this particular thing, go and sit down here and do this type shit, right? So that's exactly what, that's all talking about. I believe I told you this already, but I can approach women for interviews, YouTube, but not for myself. Did you? So okay, right there. Let's explain your psychology to you real quick. You can walk up to a girl and be like, hey, listen, this is for YouTube. How's it going? And you have all this confidence, all this charisma. The moment you want to go, hey, what's going on? This is for me. All of a sudden, no confidence anymore. It's very simple what's going on there, right? You have the confidence when you have an excuse. And the reason you have the confidence when you have the excuse of YouTube is because you feel like you're adding value to them. You don't feel like a piece of shit that's there to take something from them. You think, oh, I'm adding value to her life because I might make this bitch be famous. She might be the next Huk Tour girl, right? I'm adding to the fun. I'm adding to the vibe. I'm here to give her a plus experience, right? The reason you don't have that same confidence approaching girls for yourself is because there's a part of you that believes you're not adding any value. You're not adding any plus there. It's not a plus experience to just talk to you specifically when there's no camera in her face. So you have to find a way to believe that you are adding even more value than your YouTube channel does. Can you believe that? Because again, that also ties into you probably see yourself as a YouTuber. This is why I get cringy, or I feel cringe when I hear people talk about themselves as they identify with what they do. That's a very dangerous slippery slope, because now you think of yourself as a YouTuber. So your confidence comes from the fact that you have a following on YouTube, or you've been able to achieve whatever on YouTube. But the moment that YouTuber Monica goes away, all of a sudden you're nothing. At least in your mind. I don't believe you're nothing. I know you're something. But clearly you don't believe you're something without YouTube. Why? Why? Keep that in mind. Let's see. Should I just have the mindset of doing an interviewing, but I'll actually approach for myself? You can do that. You can do that, but that would be a crutch. I would rather you just believe in yourself to know that you are enough. You really are enough. You don't need an excuse. You don't need a patch, a glitch, a crutch, or training wheels. Nothing. Listen. Put it like this. You talking to a girl about your YouTube interview for YouTube is here. You allowing that girl to get to know you personally past your interviewer persona, that's up here. That's the greater blessing for her. A lot of girls, any random bitch can be on your YouTube channel for an interview, but it takes a truly special girl to be like, okay, let me actually get to know this girl when there's no cameras, and carry yourself with that vibe. And I would talk to girls like that. I would be like, okay, you know what? I don't do this usually. Usually I just talk to girls with my YouTube and I bounce, but you actually seem like a very interesting person. You mind talking to me for a little bit while the cameras are off? Because I'd love to get to know you a little better and see how the vibe changes. See how you set the frame automatically. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's how it should be in your mind. There's these other bitches, right? They can get my Instagram, my YouTube, blah, blah, but then there's these bitches. They have my personal phone number. You see what I'm saying? That's how it should be for you. If I do a 30-day fast for weight loss, should I work out too? And if so, how? If you already know how to work out, you don't even know how. But I will tell you though, your energy will begin to deplete as you go, because your body again is feeding on itself for energy. So you might not have and you might not have energy for the entire 30 days to work out. The first 7 days you might like, especially day number 5 and 6, you'll get like a solid burst of energy. But after that, you probably won't be able to work out as much. You can still push yourself to for sure, and you'll obviously lose a lot more weight faster. You're burning calories on top of not eating at all. But yeah, just keep that in mind. Don't try to break any PRs. Don't try to keep up with your regular level of intensity when you work out at the gym. Just do just as much as your body will allow. Okay? Like when I go up to the street interview, I don't hesitate for myself. Oh, yeah, I read that one. How would you rate Neil Strauss' game, by the way? Does he compare to legendary Fish Army? No. People need to understand what Neil Strauss is and who he is. He is a journalist that was allowed to hang around pickup artists in the 90s. He is not an actual pickup artist. He is not a lover of the game. He's a guy that just made a fucking book about it and exposed the world to commercial pickup arts. That's all he is. I wouldn't dare put him on the same level of any of the guys that actually came up with and tested and discovered the science. He's not on that level. He's just a guy they let hang around him. You feel me? Let's see. Are chin puffs feminine? What the hell is a chin puff? I have no idea what that is. In what situations are you, Jace, in your relationships? Are you leaning towards protector or provider? You got to be very specific when it comes to asking questions like that, because there's many different situations that require one or the other. There's time to be tough and big badass and alpha, and there's times to be sensitive. In a previous live, you said America made a deal with a certain entity. Can you talk more about it? Found that super interesting. America as a country is built on a contract. Let's just put it that way. First of all, even for people that don't believe in spirituality or the spirit realm, understand one thing. It's very, very clear. You can't deny this. America was built on rebellion. Agreed? Okay. America was built because a bunch of British people went, fuck them taxes over there in England. Fuck the Queen. We're not finna pay no taxes no more. We're gonna just go on and do our own shit and be our own people on this other land that someone discovered. And yeah, fuck all that. That's how America was built. Fuck the slavery part. Fuck the fucking up other countries and colonizing and raping and pillaging. Fuck all the other part. Forget that part. Forget the fact that the land was stolen. Forget that. Just the mindset and the reason this country was created was because a bunch of rascals were trying their best to be the bad boys of their era and be as rebellious as possible. Whether you believe in spirituality or not, if you don't believe that that in itself gives you an idea of the tone of this country, then I don't know how else to explain it to you. This country was built on rebellion. Okay, we can't deny that. Now let's talk about it in a more spiritual sense. Who is the rebellious spirit? Across all religions, what entity is given the moniker of rebellious? Satan, right? That's Satan's MO. That's his thing. He's rebellious. He fights against the principle. He fights against the prime, the almighty, infinite intelligence. He rebels against the prime. That's the entire point of Satan is rebellion. You don't think that entity that is known for rebellion influenced the creation of this country? Because don't forget, when that rebellion was happening, a war happened. A fight happened. It was a fight. It wasn't just, oh, we're just going to go over here and do our own thing. It was a fight. There was a war that happened because of it. And there were more people on the one side than the other. And the people on the other side, the rebels, you don't think they might have gotten a little desperate at one point and went, we need some help. Maybe a outside help of some kind. And they just happened to be an entity that was like, y'all doing this in my energy anyway. Why don't you, receive a little more help from me on this? But in exchange for this and this and that and that, I'll need this city. I also need this city, this plot of land, like this territory. I keep telling you guys, in the realm of the spirit, territory is everything, right? They love the legality that comes with owning space. It's very important to spirits, right? I also need this animal, this animal, this animal. Because again, another law of the spirit, spirits cannot manifest in this world without taking the shape or form of certain animals. Good or bad spirits, by the way. That's why in the Bible you hear Satan coming or being represented by the serpent or a lion, and then you hear the Holy Spirit being represented as a dove, right? Keep in mind, these are important things. Now, I'm just going to end it with a question. And it's the same question I asked before. Do you think that maybe a country built on rebellion carries with it a certain spirit? That's your homework for the day. Let's see. Oh, I'm late. Hi, Jason. How you doing, TikTok Zion? Mwah. I think bro thinks he has no value to give. That's with Laurent, yeah. Yeah, I agree. You do have a point. Yeah. How do you explain to your children or future children why you have multiple lovers? The same way my grandparents did. It's not an explanation thing. Like, it's not something you have to explain. If anyone that grew up in Africa that had grandparents with multiple wives, did you need an explanation? No, you just knew granddaddy had a bunch of wives. That's it. Wasn't no explanation there. That's normal until someone tells you it's not. And the beauty of how monogamy works is that monogamy in itself is not normal. It's an abnormality. If, as the human race, we went with the monogamy model all this time, we wouldn't be as successful as we are as a species. We are the most successful mammalian species on the planet. And we didn't get here by monogamy. We just didn't. But, that's a topic for a different day. How do you find out things like that sometimes? If you reach into the well of infinite knowledge, which sounds vague and superstitious, but that's the answer I'm giving. Ideas don't come from you. They come from somewhere else. The people that you call smart or geniuses, we're not fucking geniuses. We're just really good at reaching into that other realm and pulling shit back with us. That's all we're doing. We're not coming up with shit on our own. These aren't original to us. We're just really good. We're either really good cajolers and seducers of entities on the other side, or we're really good thieves, depending on the method you use, right? Some people are thieves. I'm a really good seducer. I seduce man just as well as I seduce spirit. So I know how to get what I want in that way, and I'm I understand the point of and the legality of sacrifice and exchange, and I'm privy to a lot of information most people just don't have the balls to try to get. But some people are good thieves, though. A lot of good, very famous thieves too. A lot of people that you might even respect and love are very good thieves. They'll get what's coming to them. You can't really escape those laws and the consequences of them, but it is what it is. Well, I got to thinking the mystery method is the blueprint for the front end. You take it and tweak it to suit your personality, resources, right? So if logic tracks, the interview is your version type shit. But the interview is my version that actually lends well, and not to brag, but a little better into the back end. The whole point of the interview, everything that needs to be talked about in the front end is really covered in the mystery method. What the interview is and why it looks the way it looks and why it feels the way it feels is that it helps you to set yourself up for success going into the back end. Right? That's one thing you should experience if you go through the interview correctly, is that the relationship you get from out these systems that I've created they're gonna be fucking amazing for you. They're gonna be great. You're gonna have such an easy time, and a lot of the problems that you would have had to manually solve in the back end, you would have already preemptively solved from the front end. It's fucking great. You know, that's why I created the interview the way I created it. Let's see. Hold on, I gotta scroll. I kind of touched that by accident. There we go. By the way, after I finish my current books, I want to read the Bible and Quran. Please do. Have zero ignorance. How do I read the Bible? I always tell people the same thing when it comes to reading the Bible. Make sure, first of all, you're reading a translation of the Bible that actually works for you. Don't read, I'll say it again, do not read the King James Version. Please stay away from any version that confuses you or you can't read fluidly and smoothly. Read versions of the Bible that make sense to you. And I would say read more than one translation of the Bible, because then you get proper context for each passage you read. There's a lot of passages in the Bible, if you read them in one translation, you come away with one idea. An idea that might not actually make sense for the context, right? So if you read two translations of that same passage, now you know what the actual point of the passage is about. That's how you get context. And then another bit of advice I'll throw in there, do not read one verse at a time. The chapter and verses system was designed for you and for us to be able to find specific, passages, stories, blah, blah, in the Bible with ease. That's what it was made for. The problem with how it's used in this day and age is that people just take those things out of context and just take that at face value. I can't tell you how many passages people believe in that don't even have anything to do with the context they're using it for. It's ridiculous. Every verse of scripture you read for the rest of your life, always have one major habit with it. Go to the very beginning of that chapter and start reading from there, so that you can get the context getting to that particular passage, and now it makes a lot more sense to you. And I promise you, when you do that, you will have a better understanding of what's actually been talked about. Okay? Can anyone reach that realm? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're willing to pay the price. Every gate has a key. If you're willing to pay the price, absolutely. I heard it has lots of books. The Bible has 66 books. Yes. The Bible, and the people keep forgetting that. The Bible is not a book. The Bible is a collection of 66 books, at least the modern Bible that we have today. It's a library. It's not just one book, it's a fucking library. A well-curated library, should I add. And a library that's been, to the best of people's ability, put in a chronological order. But yeah, that's what the Bible is. Yes, I agree, you handled the back end so well, and also the self-belief. Shout out to you. Thank you. I actually haven't seen anyone break it down quite like you. That's the point. I have a very unique message to give, and I give it well. I'm very concerned about how I distribute the message, and that is why I call myself a fucking scientist. What version of the Bible do you recommend? The NIV is pretty good. The New Message is very good. And the Amplified. I love the Amplified. If you're a wordy person like me, if you care about synonyms of words, the Amplified is going to be a fucking blast for you. Right? JC successfully gatekeeping you with the number of current live viewers. How we doing? Thank you. Appreciate that. Then what book do I start with? You go chronological order. The entire Bible is in chronological order. So start with the very first one, Genesis. Go to Genesis, then Exodus, then Leviticus, then Numbers. Let's see. Jay's. All right, I read that one. All right, I'm gonna answer a few more questions. Then I gotta bounce. I gotta get out of here. I got one more call to get to tonight with one of my favorites. Honestly, don't tell him I said that. His head'll get big. But yeah. Let to me know. I got a bunch of lives to upload for you guys too. How do you deal with boredom of reading though? Oh, if reading is boring to you, it's because you're not actually investing in the information you're getting. Either you're not understanding it, or the information doesn't mean enough to you for you to invest in it. But I don't know about you guys. When I read something, I get really fucking invested because I really want to know. I'm a curious motherfucker, right? So I really want to know. I'm very curious. Like, what happened to the children of Israel? What happened next in this story? What happened here? What happened there? I'm very concerned. So, you know, I say read with more intent. You know what I mean? If you can read with more intent, and again, don't just read the words off the book of the page and just one word at a time. Like actually observe and absorb the information in it. You know, because I could read, how do you deal with the boredom of reading though? Or I could be like, okay, what he wants to know is how to deal with the boredom that comes with reading. And that's why I can give you good answers. Because I actually give a fuck about the words and what they mean. Right? Care about the words and the meaning of them. And I promise you, the reading, the boredom, like you don't have to deal with it. It just goes away naturally when you have the curiosity to want to know. Okay? Before you go, how to deal with one-itis. Abundance. The best thing for one-itis is abundance. She's only the most special girl you've ever met in your life until you get a hotter one that's willing to do even more crazy shit with you. You know, the cure to one-itis is get a hotter girl that will do whatever you say. Real talk. I'm not even kidding. Like, that sounds like corny, goofy advice, but that will work. Literally. Everyone is heartbroken about their ex, so they find a girl with a prettier face, fatter ass, and will call him daddy. You know what I mean? Reading is boring to me as well. Again, just understand the information and, you know, play it out in your head like a movie. It'll be fun, I promise. Hi, Jace, how's life going? Pretty good, actually. Pretty fucking good. I'm a little sore from jiu-jitsu, but it's pretty good. Probably because we're young. No, I was around your age when I started reading like giant books. I don't think it's because you're young. I just think you haven't seen the value of reading. One of the coolest things about reading and getting new information is seeing it work in your life. If you practice the things you read and you see results from it, you're gonna go fucking pick up that book again. No one learns how to meditate correctly from a book and then never reads another meditative book again. That doesn't happen. If that happens for you, then that's because you didn't actually see results from meditation. You know, so just something to keep in mind. Do you recommend reading while also listening to the audiobook? Absolutely. That's actually one of my preferred ways to get the information because you're getting 2 points of contact on your brain. You're more likely to absorb and retain the information that way, for sure. Yeah, I'm talking about the Bible. Me too. Oh, got the attention spans of fish. Is that why you call yourself Fish on Me? It's funny. Because I have this chick I like, and it seems like my game isn't as tight when I'm with her. Abundance type shit. If it's a particular girl that's on your case and like, oh, I just feel like I'm not getting where I need to be with this girl, get a better one. Get a better one. I'm telling you, shoot for the stars. Shoot for the stars. Is it okay going on a call with later? If you're talking about us calling later, I don't know if I can do this Sunday, but we're definitely getting on call soon, okay? No, it has nothing to do with you being young. I read a lot of books when I was in elementary school. Absolutely, man. Me too. How would you go about finding a good church? I'm interested in the social community it comes with. Honestly, that's not even a question you should be asking someone like me, because I kind of have my hand dabbled in a few churches that I like, and I visit, I go, and I see. If you're interested in the social community, honestly, find a church near you that you believe is Bible based, and then try it out. See what happens. Let's see. Of my favorite recent books I read so far is The 4 Agreements and Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits is a G of a book, honestly. Atomic Habits is a great book. Gonna meet the girl next few days I talked about last call, the 8 or 9 that lives a little far away. Okay, cool. Go see her. Tell me how that goes, okay? I'm very curious to see how that goes. All right. I gotta go, guys. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me, even though today I decided to be fucking shirtless. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Please use the information that I give you in your fucking life, okay? Actually go out and see results in your life, and then understand the value of this, because it's very life-changing, and there's a reason I've dedicated my fucking life to giving you this kind of information, you know? So Go out there, use this information, create amazing experiences for yourself, achieve amazing things, and then come back to me and let's talk about it. All right? This has been Jason's favorite scientist. Do with all this information what you must.